Hello friends, welcome back to the Design Patterns video series. In this video, I'm going to discuss singleton design pattern with some examples. Please read our previous video where we give a brief introduction to design patterns. The singleton design pattern falls under the category of creational design pattern. As it belongs to creational design pattern category, it is going to deal with object creation and initialization. As part of this video, we are going to discuss the following pointers. First, we will discuss what is singleton design pattern. Then we will discuss what are the advantages of using singleton design pattern. Then we will discuss the implementation guidelines of singleton design pattern. Then we will see some examples of singleton design pattern using C# as the programming language. Then we will also discuss some real-time scenarios where we can use the singleton design pattern. And finally, we will discuss what are the disadvantages of using singleton design pattern in C#. So let us proceed and discuss what is singleton design pattern. According to Wikipedia, in software engineering, the singleton pattern is a software design pattern that restricts the instantiation of a class to one single instance. This is useful when exactly one object is needed to coordinate actions across the system. That means we need to use the singleton design pattern when we need to ensure that only one instance of a particular class is going to be created and then provide some global access to that instance for the entire application. To understand this better, please have a look at the diagram. As you can see in the diagram, different objects, that is new object 1, that is new object A, new object B, and a new object N, trying to get the singleton instance, right? Once the client gets the singleton instance, they can invoke the methods, that is method 1, method 2, and method n, using the same singleton instance, right? If this is confused at the moment, then don't worry, we will discuss this with some examples. Now, let us understand why we need singleton design pattern or the advantages of using singleton design pattern in our application. The advantage of using singleton design patterns are as follows. The first and the most important advantage of using the singleton design pattern is that it takes care of concurrent access to the shared resource, right? That means if you are sharing a resource with multiple clients simultaneously, then concurrent access to that resource is well managed by the singleton object, that is singleton design pattern. It can be lazy loaded and also has static initialization to share the common data, that is the master data and configuration data, that is not changed that frequently in an application. In that case, we need to cache the objects in memory. As it provides a single global point of access to a particular instance, so it is easy to maintain. It also reduces the overhead of instantiating a heavy object again and again. Before implementing the singleton design pattern in C#, let us understand the implementation guideline of singleton design pattern. The following are the implementation guidelines of using singleton design pattern. In singleton class, in singleton class, we need to declare a private and parameterless constructor. This is required because once we have the private constructor, that it will not allow the class to be instantiated from outside the class. It only instantiates from within the class. The singleton class should be declared with the shield keyword, that is a shield class. This is required because shield will ensure that it cannot be inherited. This is going to be useful when we are dealing with the nested class. We will discuss this scenario in detail with an example in our upcoming videos. Right. Within the single class, we need to create a private static variable that is going to hold a reference to the single created instance of the class, if any. We also need to create a public static property or method which will return the single created instance of the singleton class. This method or property first check if an instance of the singleton class is available or not. If the singleton instance is available, then it returns that singleton instance. Otherwise, it will create an instance and then return that instance. So these are the guidelines that we need to follow while implementing the singleton design pattern. Let us see an example and understand how to implement singleton design pattern in C#. There are many ways we can implement the singleton design pattern in C#. Some of them are follows. No thread safe singleton design pattern, thread safety singleton design pattern, thread safety singleton design pattern implementation using double check locking, thread safe singleton design pattern implementation without using the locks and no lazy initialization, fully lazy initialization of the singleton class using .NET Force lazy of T-type. In this video, I'm going to discuss the no thread safe singleton design pattern implementation in C#. The rest of the implementations are going to be discussed one by one from our next video. So let us open Visual Studio and create a new console application. So just create a new console application, write new project and give the console application name as singleton demo v1. Okay, once you created the project, let's add a class file with the name singleton to our project. Okay, I have already typed the necessary code for the singleton class, so let me copy paste the code from the notepad. Once I copy paste the code, then I will explain each of the line one by one. So this is the class, this is the singleton class for our application. So here we created the singleton class as shield. You can see that we have created the singleton class as a shield. So this is going to be a shield class and it will ensure that the class cannot be inherited and object instantiation is restricted in the derived class. That means this class is not going to be inherited inside any child class, right? So it will restrict the inheritance. Further, if you notice, the singleton class is created with one private constructor, right? The singleton class is created with a private parameterless constructor which will ensure that the class is not going to be instantiated from outside the class. Again, we declare the instance variable as private and also initialized this instance variable with null value, which will ensure that only one instance of the class is created based on the null condition. The public property, that is the get instance property, is used to return only one instance of the class by checking the null value, right? If the instance value is null, then it will initialize the instance variable with the new singleton object and return that instance. If it is not null, then directly it will return that instance, right? The public property get instance basically used to return the singleton instance. The public method, that is print details, can be invoked from outside the class through the singleton instance, right? So if you further notice, so what we have done so far, we have created the singleton class as shield, we have created the constructor as a private and parameterless. Shield will ensure no inheritance, right? Constructor, private constructor will ensure the class cannot, we cannot create an object of this class from outside the class, right? So this is a private static variable which is going to hold the singleton instance, and this is a public static property, and using this property we can return and we can create and return the singleton instance, right? And further, if you notice, within the constructor, we are creating one counter, we are just increasing the counter variable value, right? So this will ensure how many number of times the constructor is executed, right? If so, we are done with our first version of the singleton design pattern implementation, which is not thread shapes, right? Later, we will see how to make the singleton instance thread shape. Let us see how to use the singleton instance. So to use the singleton instance, we need to modify the main method of the program class, right? So what I'm doing, I'm just creating singleton from teacher equals to singleton dot get instance. So this property will return me the instance of singleton object. Then what I'm doing, there is one public method, that is print details, and what I'm doing, I'm just passing some data, some string value I'm passing from the method. So here we are passing from teacher. Similarly, what I'm doing, I'm just creating another instance, and here I'm doing from student. Right? So what I'm doing, I'm just writing the console dot read key so that we can see the output, right? So that is we have done. So as you can see here, I am calling the static get instance property two times and storing the return object in two different singleton reference variable, that is from teacher and from student. And then I am calling the print details method using from teacher object and from student object, right? So let's run the application and see the output. Right. As you can see in the output, it clearly shows that the private constructor is executed only once, even though we have called the get instance property twice. That is, and this will ensure because we are getting the counter value 1, and this, if you notice, this counter value statement is written within the constructor, right? So it is printing counter value 1, which ensures that this constructor is executed only once. That means even we are calling the get instance property two times, but the constructor is executed only one. This proves that the singleton instance is created only once. The way we implement the singleton design pattern in this example is not thread shape. It means in a multi-threaded environment, it will be able to create multiple instances of the singleton class. How to make the singleton class thread shape? That we will discuss in the thread shape design pattern video. You may have one question on your mind. Why why do we need to create the class as a shield as already we have the private constructor, right? That we will discuss in our next video. Now let us understand some of the real-time scenarios where we can use the singleton design pattern, right? So you can use singleton design pattern to create service proxies. As you know, invoking a service API is an extensive operation in an application. The process that taking most of the time is creating the service client in order to invoke the service API. If you create the service proxy as singleton, then it will improve the performance of your application. Facade. The second point is facade. You can also create the database connections as singleton, which can improve the performance of your application. Third one is logging, right? Logs, error log or any information log. In an application, performing the IO operation on a file is an expensive operation. If you create your logger as singleton, then it will improve the performance of your IO operation. The next is data sharing. If you have any constant values or configuration values, then you can keep these values in singleton so that this can be read by the components, by other components of the application. Now, the last one is caching. As we know, Fetching the data from a database is a time-consuming process. In your application, you can cache the master and configuration data in memory, which will avoid the DB calls. In such situations, the singleton class can be used to handle the caching with thread synchronization in an efficient manner, which drastically improves the performance of the application. Now, let us understand the disadvantages of using singleton design pattern. The disadvantages of using singleton design patterns are as follows. Unit testing is very difficult because it introduces a global state into an application. It reduces the potential of parallelism within a program because to access the singleton instance in a multi-threaded environment, you need to serialize the object by using locking. We'll discuss this concept with example in our upcoming videos. In the next video, I'm going to discuss why we need to use the shield keyword to the singleton class as we already have a private constructor in the singleton class. Here in this video, I try to explain the basic concept of singleton design pattern in C# with an example. I hope now you understand why you need the singleton design pattern and how to implement singleton design pattern in C#. I hope you also enjoy this video. In case you need the code and text version of this video, then the link for the same is provided in the video description section. Thank you for watching this video.